Hello, Delilah. Hello, Edgey. How are you?
Hey, we're doing pretty well.
How about you?
Very well. A little bit cold, but that's okay. It's almost winter, so.
It's all right. Portuguese houses have fireplaces.
Yeah, then they're very cool.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to thank you for being here with us, with a little conversation concerning you both and concerning the new album that you are almost releasing. But before that, I'm a very curious person, so I would like to begin this talk by asking. You were in the middle of an European tour when the pandemic began, but you choose to come to Portugal. Why?
Well, a few reasons. What would be the main reason?
Well, I think the main reason is because we feel as if Portugal is like home at this point. You know, we love being here. We really do love it here. Another reason is because we didn't feel it would be safe to go back to New York because we knew the pandemic didn't really hit there as hard yet. And we knew what would be coming there, especially with a fascist thug in office right now, Donald Trump. And there was no way I'm going to be in New York during that lockdown over there. So I think we made the right choice.
Yeah. Remembering all the news that we saw coming from New York at that point, it was really, really bad. During March and April, New York, it was very, very bad. You touch a point, a very bad point, but that will be a better point soon, let's hope. And in my opinion, everything we do is political. As soon as we make a choice, that's political for me. So I would like to ask you, as an American, both of you, what it was like for you to live in America with a president like Donald Trump, and if that did have any effect on your work?
Yeah, well, the presidents before him weren't great either. I mean, they've all done horrible things and horrible atrocities to the earth and to people and to human rights. But I mean, Trump was especially bad, especially what we've been doing to the children and on the borders and separating families. And I mean, there's so many things.
Which Obama did too.
That is true. And so, I mean, it always affects our songwriting. I believe how you believe, that everything is political. Everything is intertwined. You can't escape it. You live in this world. And things that are happening, you have to be aware of. And we're just searching for truth in everything. And like, Trump was horrible, but there was also presidents before him that weren't doing good things either. And we got to make sure that the new president coming in isn't going to be like, we don't give him a pass just because he's not outright crazy or
No, he's crazy.
Edgey, you don't believe in Biden?
No, not at all. But I said, sounds like a Lennon song. I don't believe in Biden.
So
the thing, when you asked the question of how we were personally impacted, I do remember, because sometimes we don't think of how it personally impacts us, in our personal lives. One way it did impact us when Obama was in the White House. I do remember being outraged at one point because I had to pay taxes. I was being penalized for the fact that we didn't have health care. So we were getting charged for that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm being penalized because the government didn't give me health care? Like, I thought that was the most insane thing ever. It's like, it's to add insult to injury. Not only do we not have universal health care, but now I'm being penalized for not having that health care. It was totally insane.
Totally insane. Why do you think America is like that? Why don't you have, I don't know, we don't have, in Europe, there are good presidents and bad presidents, insane presidents. We have everything, okay? We have everything. But we have, we still believe in some point in the people that stand in the power for us. In some point we believe in them. We have a president right now in Portugal. He's from the right side, not my side, but the right side of the political environment in Portugal. But he's doing not a fantastic job, but he's doing a great job trying to maintain the country altogether. I know that your system is very different from our system, but why do you think America doesn't go that way?
Yeah. This is a question that I have been asking myself for a very, very long time. Yeah. And it's one that I can't even tell you how many books we've read on this just to get the answer to this. Personally, I think that the reason why the United States is, for the most part, like that, it is, for one, a new country by relative standards. Yeah. You know, Europe is a lot older. It's the way in which it was founded and how it was founded, and then how the United States, built on, of course, like rugged individualism, it doesn't have this long history of social movements that predated that time, of course, because it didn't exist, right? Whereas Europe, you're already in, like, you know, for centuries in workers' struggles and organizing and getting together. And so I feel Europe is much, much more socially conscious. And do you think it's not that it's, yes, Cornel West once called the United States an adolescent nation. It's like a child that refuses to grow up.
I was thinking exactly about that.
We lack a class consciousness that Europe has already. Every single person I speak to in Europe, whether it's in, I mean, we played in France recently, and the bartender was quoting us all kinds of philosophers like Henry David Thoreau and all kinds of, you know what I'm saying, French philosophers as well. And it's rare to see that in the United States.
You don't have that. You don't have
and
that.
it's hard to do anything when you have like two parties that are like, there's no really left or right there. They say that the Democrats are left, and they'll say things like socialist on the news when we're like, that's not socialist. Like, the words are like confusing, like how they talk about politics there too. It's like.
Another curiosity that I have: do you think the educational system is doing a good job teaching the new generation to change all of this? Because everything is education, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had a few good teachers like growing up, but the whole system, I remember even like little things were like what we learned in our textbooks, like. Was not right. Like everything was like whitewashed and like kind of vague. So unless someone's going to probably a very expensive school, private school, maybe that's a little more humanitarian. Like
the private schools are definitely completely different in the United States than the public schools.
Really?
Completely different. Yeah, we have friends that we know some people that put their kids in like expensive kind of. They're private schools, but they're also geared more towards what Delilah was saying. Like the curriculum is more towards like human rights, and like it's not so much the standardized testing. So
more progressive.
Much more. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, like they're more progressive. But the public schooling system, we hear this over and over again, how the public schools are failing us or failing our children. I disagree 100% on that. I think that the way that the schooling system is designed within the United States, it's designed to work exactly how it is working right now. It is not failing. It's actually a great success for the people who designed it. They're teaching children to become cogs in the machine, just workers just to, become subservient to power. So by those standards, those schools are, they're functioning just perfectly fine. But from our standpoint, it's an utter failure because we're leading our kids towards a path of pretty much annihilation, apparently. It could be the end of the human species, and no one's talking about that.
They don't teach the children how to think?
I wasn't taught how to think. I don't know. I kind of learned that outside of school. So.
Outside of school, yeah, I do understand, because here we have several. We have a very good educational system, I think, public, and we teach philosophy. Edgey was talking about the French. They spoke about the philosophers in French, and in Portugal we have also a very good perspective on that, to put the children to think. I have a son, and he thinks. He thinks a lot. He's 18 and he thinks a lot, and that's very important. Edgey, your father is Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know your father was a military during the 25 de Abril. That's right. That's true.
It's true. Yeah,
it's true. And do you know the story of our revolution, I suppose?
Yeah, there was a point when I was kind of obsessed with it, and I would read up a lot on it, because what I was told about the Portuguese Revolution, I was given like bits and pieces from everybody, but it depends on who you ask. You get a different perspective. I found that when you ask like really like my people of my grandmother's generation, you get a slant to it. Like sometimes they're kind of like sympathetic to Salazar almost, and I can't believe that. But but still they're against the whole fascist thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just there were elements of that era and that time that I guess they like. And then you speak to the younger people, and of course, everybody hates Salazar and hated fascism, and that's something we don't want to return to. And thank God, like 99.9% of Portugal's, I guess, against fascism. Yes. I could be wrong, but now I'm seeing a fascist party emerging. Is that true?
Yeah, is that true?
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's a very concerning subject, and we are all fighting against it, because he's going to I don't know how to say. He wants to be the next president. That's not possible. That's not possible. And tell me, that's why you sang Grândola during a live festival. We were there, and I was there too. Yeah, it was a very, very emotional moment for us.
Oh, nice.
That was great. Was that at Grândola? We sang it a few times. We went to the village.
You went to the yeah. What did you think about that?
It was, being like an outsider, special to me too. It was like that they would like, they brought us to like, there was a ceremony over there, and it seemed very special.
The mayor came out, everybody was there. What was the ceremony for the Secret Bill? Was it like
I remember we had the carnations.
We had the carnations. I forget what the exact ceremony was for. It may have been for the revolution, or it wasn't someone's birthday, right? Like,
no.
Okay, so, but it was just insanely amazing, like how people are coming out, they're hugging each other, everyone's united.
Yeah.
And I do remember the area being completely silent. Like my tinnitus was I heard in my ears. I'm like, wow, this is a quiet town. Like, because there was a moment where everyone was silent, and the whole, it was peaceful, pretty much.
Do you know the musician that played and sang Grândola? Zeca Afonso?
Afonso, yeah. I've been looking up his other songs too. And,
they're very beautiful. They're very beautiful in a social and every way. Music, everything. It's awesome.
What was the you did a song from him? We did a song. Oh, that's right. In Festa do Avante, we sang Eles Comem Tudo, Vampiros.
The Vampiros.
Yeah.
The Vampires.
What a song.
That's a song that can be like, it's one of those songs that can be like sang any era. Like now is relatable. Like.
He has several songs like that. He was very critical about the situation by that time, and unfortunately story goes around and around, and we keep on the same place, keep going to the same place and not evaluate, but that's another discussion. For those who doesn't know your history, I would like to ask if you could tell us how the band was born, and when did that happen?
Yeah, we met the story is we met on the streets, like when we were doing protest songs. That was like the start of like the band, and then we started writing music together. Got influenced by the blues and soul music. Put a band together. We quit our jobs and everything. Went across the country in the U.S. and we slept out of a van for a long time. Slept on people's couches and floors. And then we came to Europe. And we haven't slept on any floors in Europe yet.
No, not yet.
Didn't need it. Didn't work out.
Oh man.
Why do you have such a influence by the blues?
I don't know. It hit me not when I was like little or young, like but like as I started playing guitar and singing, like I started gravitating more towards blues and folk and the feeling, and it has such a deep history in the U.S. Like it goes like so far back, actually back to Africa. So like it's something that just seems real when people are taking their pain and suffering, and then you make something so beautiful. Yeah, like just it seems like the most natural and truthful form of saying.
Do you know? You of course you know we also have a very special relation with Africa, because we used to be there.
My father was there. He was in Angola during the war.
In Angola. My husband was born there.
Cool.
Yeah, we have very influences from Africa and all of that. Do you think the blues are? I hope you don't. Do you think the blues are the real America?
You mean like the blues musicians, or is blues music the real, like,
the
what do
blues,
you mean?
The blues music. Do you think those musics and those lyrics are the real America?
I think that blues music is a reaction to empire, oppression, racism, rape, everything you could think of, you know. It's a humanitarian reaction to that, you know. It's a way of poor people expressing their indignation and everything that they're feeling through a medium of blues, rather than grabbing a gun and just blowing your head off, pretty much. And I think that white America should be thankful and grateful to all blues musicians and Black people that, instead of taking up arms against them, which I am not against, they should be happy they chose the guitar and used their voice, and they didn't use violence to react to violence of the U.S. empire. You know, that's personally what I think about the blues. And as white people playing the blues, you know, it took a long time to figure out what our true role is as musicians within, you know, the many genres we cover, and the base of it, of course, is blues. You know, because I think that a lot of white musicians, they're kind of expropriating Black culture. That's what I think. A lot of white rockers expropriating Black culture. They ain't giving back, and they ain't doing it right, in my opinion. But I don't want to sound like preachy or whatever. You know what I mean?
And the name. And the name. How did you come out with the Last Internationale?
Well, it came from the international movements that were workers rising up and creating like organizations for themselves. But we wanted a name that like didn't sound like a band name. It sounded more like a movement. Like it's not.
That's why the last. That's why it's the last.
Yeah, we have some hope in there that the Last Internationale. We won't. This would be the last time. This is the last time that we should rise up and all that. So.
Delilah, do you know the song? Na 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 na.
No, don't put me on spot.
Yeah. Funny enough, we never sang that song.
We've never sang that song. Yeah,
never.
I've heard it in all different languages: Russian, French, English. But that's something we have to do.
You have to do. You have to do. You have to do. Put it in English and yeah. No, not the last one. No. Did you ever had any problems due to your name?
Sometimes in the US, like we had problems when we were signed to the big record label. They were like, they were confused about the name. And they're like, oh, it's too long, or like it doesn't make sense, or like they were like, it wasn't like a regular band name, so people were like,
they didn't know the meaning.
I don't think so.
That's why that's why there never was a problem. In my opinion, I don't know. I don't know what Delilah is saying because I never heard of this from the label. I don't think there was ever an issue with the name.
Well, maybe it was the manager at that time. Someone said it. Someone in the music industry.
But that wasn't the name. We had a manager at one point that wanted to change the band name to Delilah and just have her sing pop music by pop artists, like by like these electronic, EDM DJ people or whatever.
Actually, what did you answer to that manager?
We found out through someone else. We were at a meeting at a studio, and they were saying, "So, I heard you guys are changing your main name to Delilah." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Unless it's still band name, they were gonna totally kick you out.
No, that was the plan. Eventually, it'd be kick me out, have her by herself, put her in high heels, stilettos, or whatever, shorts, mini skirts, and sing EDM music, and I don't know what else.
Yeah, the list.
That was the plan.
That man's still alive?
It was a female.
It was a female.
It was a female. Yeah.
That's the sad point.
That's the very sad point. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And for we have a lot of young people listen to us, and I also would like to ask you, because I always do this question, because I think it's important to open up different styles and different influences for the others. So I would like to ask, who are your biggest influences in music, in literature, in life? Who are the
so many.
Wow, I don't know.
So many.
I would say like musically probably Janis Joplin, Nina Simone. I'll have to name females because a lot of times I'll name males and I'll catch myself. There's so many great female artists. Patti Smith.
Yeah.
Like I'm drawn to very raw. Big Mama Thornton.
Yeah.
And in life, I don't know. I love Charlie Chaplin because of so many different things. I had an obsession with him for a long time, with his like movies and his whole story. Like reading his autobiography is pretty cool. So that's a cool book.
There was a third one, right?
Yeah,
there was in life and literature. Yeah.
Literature. I knew Edgey.
I guess I'll start with literature.
Yeah.
That's the remaining category. Okay, so Noam Chomsky, obviously, that's probably the most like well-known leftist of our time, I think, right? Howard Zinn, who passed away years ago, I guess, he was instrumental in helping me understand U.S. history, first and foremost, and U.S. foreign policy around the world. Then you have, one of my favorite journalists of right now is Jeremy Scahill. For his investigative work, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. It's insane. And so I would recommend people check him out.
Mm-hmm.
I still do read a lot of philosophy, but there was a point where that's like all I was doing. And, I read everything from like the classics to like, you can pretty much name it. Like I was just consuming all of it, But one of my favorite philosophers of all time, of course, is not only Nietzsche, that sick bastard. He's awesome. But Karl Marx, without a doubt. I got into anarchism, so I was reading a lot of Bakunin, and it was just like it never ends. Like I could keep going and going and going. Like of course you have like Black Panthers that like Dr. Cornel West is someone I'm currently watching his videos and listening to and reading his literature too.
I like him. He talks a lot. He brings music in with everything. He's always talking about music and relating it to.
It's amazing. There's also books that many people don't know about, that I have like a library at home. There's a book called New York, I Do Mind Dying, which influenced our first EP, New York. No, Detroit, I Do Mind Dying. That's the name of the book. And that's what influenced our EP, New York, I Do Mind Dying. That talks a lot about like, even blues singers in the factories. Like one blues singer went to the factory floor and blew the foreman's fucking head off. You know what I'm saying? Like some real shit going on. And then I think he was acquitted. You know what I mean? Like these books and stories that you don't hear today, you know, that's why I'd highly recommend those. So I know I can talk forever about this. I'll wrap it up with one more book. If anyone out there wants to understand social movements in general, no matter what part of the world you live in, to truly grasp it and to figure out what are the best the best protest strategies and tactics, I would highly recommend A Poor People's Movement by Piven and Cloward. They were professors over at CUNY University in Columbia. And it is like the most insane, like scientific, documented kind of approach to social movements, to understand what works and what doesn't. And when you read that, you will realize we are in deep trouble. Our social movements do not work. Do not work. It's like, well, I don't know if you were expecting a long answer like that.
No. A fantastic answer. And in life, who's the person that most influences both of you?
In life, my mom.
Your mom.
Nice. Yeah, family.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Professionally, Tom Morello.
Morello. Really?
He's our mentor, yeah.
Yeah. So nice. So cool. There are those people who say, and I think you do agree with me, that I'm reading it, so I don't miss anything, that music is a weapon, and that weapon being seen as a vehicle of change. Do you agree with that? Still in nowadays, we need to use music as a real weapon?
Totally. I think music, from just like the primordial level, like even like the vibration of sound, like we've been doing that since like we started becoming humans, probably even before.
You bringing it way back. You bring it way back. She's gonna start dressing in white soon and fucking start meditating.
No, I think it's like innate in us to like to communicate through music, even if it's like not words, like just sound. Sorry. I think it's important.
I agree with that. That's a good point. Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you think the younger generations have this same point of view, or only a small size of those generations think as we do, that music is a real weapon to change?
I think they do. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think even if it is a small group, it doesn't matter. Small groups can change the world. So
yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to gauge an entire generation, because you can say that the 60s and 70s that the youth was on it, you know what I'm saying? That I thought everyone was politicized back then. But then I look at like Woodstock and shit, and I'm like, I'm seeing a bunch of white hippies that just want to fucking smoke and chill. And 5 or 8 years later, they all turn conservative. So it's like, I wouldn't hold out on hope that the youth is kind of like ready to rise up or whatever. I am hopeful, and I'm very positive. In some ways, it's hard to believe, but I am optimistic. And I think Delila was saying was right, that we have way more than enough youth today to change the world. We have more people, in my opinion, politicized and ready to change the world than we did in the 60s or the 70s. The only difference is they're not employing new strategies of protest or new tactics. So therefore, those old methods aren't working. But you've seen it kind of slightly change after the death of George Floyd. I don't think really it was I gotta be careful when I say this, because I don't want to come off wrong. After the death of George Floyd, you've seen a shift, a paradigm shift in the way that people protest. And that right there is when you saw social change happening. That's when you saw policies kind of being changed, when even police departments started considering defunding police, because they had the police departments didn't consider it, the politicians did, in defunding police. And so you really saw effectiveness in the way in which we protested. It was working. And so if you ask me, what was it that made it work? It's one word: disruption. And that's what I learned from that book, Poor People's Movements. If you don't disrupt, you will not get what you're asking for, period. You cannot find one example in the entire history of humanity where anyone has ever changed anything without disrupting. It's just impossible. So the marches won't work unless it's a disruptive march.
But they are at the beginning, do you think? Those marches were a very specific moment with the death of George Floyd. And then everything came back as it was before.
Pretty much because of the media backlash and the pressure. But you've seen the people want to kind of dismiss an entire social movement because of some of the so-called violent elements within those movements. But I don't think that rioting is a violent act. I think that is a legitimate form of protest. And I don't ever blame the protesters or working class or poor people for inciting violence on a very, very oppressive and vicious system, you know? And so if rioting is an effective tool of social change, I am for it, you know? But I'm also careful in how I say that. I don't want to incite mindless, pointless violence that results in people dying. That's not what I'm saying. You know, all I'm saying is that if you look at it from a very scientific, objective standpoint, and you see what strategies work in social movements, you will often find that where there's disruption and where there is violence in either way, cops beating people up or whatever, when the people fight back and resist by any means, that's when you see the change. Yeah. You don't see it when we're just repeating slogans, holding up signs, and we go home when the curfew ends or the permit expires.
Yeah, that was 25 de Abril with us. A moment of disruption.
Yeah.
When you look at, we were talking about the young people. When you look at the people that go to see your shows, do you think they are active politically, or do you think they go to your shows only because of the music?
I think it's both. So I've known people have talked to us after the show saying like the words, and sometimes they will say like, oh my eyes were open to this issue. Oh wow, like you wrote a song like this. Like that's happened sometimes. And then I mean we don't really get that much of like shut up and just play the music, like which we got once in a while before.
Every once in a while.
They don't want to hear anything.
We get that sometimes.
Really?
I think that's
in Europe. In Europe. In Europe?
No.
In US. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's I think because we opened for like other bands, like bigger bands sometimes, and I think if they started liking our band, they probably didn't like really delve into like what we were saying, and they're like, oh wait, what are they talking about? These comments. So like, it's usually that.
Yeah. It's funny because in Europe, we don't offend anybody. We'll say crazy shit. I'm like, I'm going to say the most crazy shit anyone's ever heard. I'll say it and no one's offended. They're like, all right, whatever, dude. I'm like, damn, like they're very open-minded. In the US, they get more easily offended, I guess. But I think that what we use our music for is to unite people and bring people together. That's why we don't like to push our political ideals onto people. It's in our music, but we don't like to say, look, we're right about this. If you don't agree, fuck off. Don't follow the band. If you look at our socials, whenever disagreements happen or whatever, and we have to mediate even between fans, we always say, look, the whole point of our music is to bring people together. If you have a disagreement, even if you're a Trump supporter, we do have Trump supporter fans, believe me. And we don't make fun of them. We don't say you're stupid for liking Trump. We're not judging them like a lot of people on the left do. I'm not any better than anybody who supports or likes Trump. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm intellectually superior. I invite them to talk about their ideas. Why do they like Trump? What are they thinking? And here's why I disagree. And what I usually find at the end of conversation, we have a lot more in common than we think because we're working class. And that's how we forge our, bring people together, if you will.
And how do you create your songs? Do you first think about the lyric, or do you think about the music and then mix all together? And when you write the songs, do you have a previous issue to talk about, a theme, or you go with the flow? Oh, like the Queens.
I think both. Sometimes it's just a feeling, and then you're like, and then you try to search for what you're trying to say. Like, but I think the songs that flow out the easiest is when you really have something to say, and that's when like the song like is like the most powerful. I think when you have a topic or something like really upsets you, or like, you know what, I really want to say this, then it's like it
like
comes
Master.
out. Oh, like Master, yeah, like the song that we just released a song
about George Floyd.
Yep. Yep.
And it was clear what we wanted to say, so it was easier to write the lyrics. And sometimes like that's the thing. But sometimes a song will take forever, and you're like, what the hell? Like, why isn't it coming out?
Because you have too much to say. You don't know what to say.
And the song is too short. You have to write the song in chapters. Chapter 1, chapter 2, like a book. We've seen you on stage several times. We've seen you in Lisbon, and then we've seen you in Paredes de Cora.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we every year we go to Minho every year, except this one because of the pandemic. So, is on stage is where you really like to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what's so upsetting. Also, not be having shows, but whatever we do, we're doing the live streams. So that's good. Yeah. I think it makes me like. It never gets old, and it like I think every time it's a new experience. Like I could play this song. We've been playing some songs for almost 10 years now. Like, and every time we play it, it doesn't get old to me. It's just like it's reborn again because every show is a new experience. It's weird. It's
and
a weird
you play
thing.
it differently all the time too.
Yeah, we play it differently. I'll forget words sometimes now. Put in another word.
You put it in other words. That's
sometimes,
cool.
yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah, if you ever see her whispering in my ear at a show, she's usually saying, wait, well, how does this verse start? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Need a teleprompter.
Did you have a change of lineup when you imagine you began the concert? Okay, you have a lineup already set, and then you see that the public doesn't respond. Or did you have a change it because of that, or you don't? You do. Mm-hmm.
We've had it like, or we'll try out a new song and like that one wasn't like, we're not like, I don't know, if sometimes there's like a beat going or like a rhythm, and then when you change it, you're like, oh shit, I fucked them up. Like I could feel their bodies moving and then they're not, or you know, it changes. So we've done that, like twisted things around.
We've never followed a set list ever, I don't think. That's the thing. Like we'll try to write one because the sound guy will be on our ass. They'll be like, I need a set list or whatever for the lighting guy and whatever, and for the journalists. Well, that's after the fact. We know what it is, but you know, we'll write it for them. I'm like, fine. You want a set list? Let's write a set list. Let's try to stick to it. Like 2 minutes before it's stage time, we'll change the whole set list and send it back up to the sound guy. I'm like, oh my, what the fuck? And then and then we go on stage and we don't even do that set list. Like it'll constantly change.
But I think that's probably part of what keeps it like exciting and interesting too.
Yeah.
I like to have a little bit of like be a little nervous before every show. Like what's gonna happen?
Because you never know too. Like when it backfires, you know what I'm saying? Like what makes it thrilling is the fact that it could go wrong. Like you can have an embarrassing experience. I'm like, oh, we fucked that one up. But without having that, like, without taking that risk, music is boring as hell.
There's no thrill.
I'm not gonna fuck up ever. Like this, I want to push it. Like we'll be doing a song like, I'm gonna try something I never tried before. See if it works, it works. If it don't work, well, fuck it. I just hope it's not on YouTube. Like it's that kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's what's kind of missing in rock a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Taking that risk, you know, rather than having the perfect kind of sound and the amps are perfect, their tone is perfect. Oh my God, we have the perfect sound isolation. Like it's all boring shit, man. It's like, dude, just plug in, play, and fuck up. You know, don't be afraid. And usually you don't mess up when you do that. Too,
yeah.
So.
If I ask you the one band that you could tell me that's the best doing that, not shitty things, of course, but really good things, who do you choose?
Definitely the Rolling Stones, and I would also say Patti Smith, and I know I'm missing somebody that really. Jack White does this a lot, of course.
Jack White does it a lot, yeah.
The Stooges, Iggy Pop.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Danger.
All them,
yes.
Yeah. all them fabulous on stage, absolutely incredible. I went to see a video of you when you gone to the Leatherman show. Do you remember that? And at the end, he was crazy about you two. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like such a dream to be there that it kind of felt like a dream. So like, I kind of was there.
Yeah, you were very shy at that time, but it was crazy. He was totally crazy about you. It is a very nice video. I found out that you have launched your own record label. Is that true?
Well, yeah, we self-released Soul on Fire. We call it Elephant Army. It's like, And
then we signed a distribution deal just recently with Sony France.
But do you maintain the record label, or you don't, or you are releasing with a big one label?
We're releasing with Sony, but it's a distribution it's a distribution deal, so we still own our masters, and it's our record label, it's our master, and then Sony is our partner.
Why did you choose to do that? You want to be more independent, more creative, more free?
Yeah, we want to be more independent, more free, which we clearly are now since we got off of Sony. Then we got back to Sony.
But it's in a different, Yeah.
But we also don't want to be broke and playing to a small crowd. We want to change the world. You know what I'm saying? And the only way to change
is to spread the word.
You got to spread it. You know what I'm saying? You got to play to as many people as possible. You got to relate to people. We always want to give people not just what they want, but sometimes what they don't know they want. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
We don't want to be this like obscure band just being we're still weird and we still improvise and do crazy experimentation in the studio, but I want it to be relatable to the masses. I don't want to be some, playing fusion music for a few musician friends, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we are very conscious of that, and we want people to hear it, as many people as possible.
As I don't know, I think it was an anarchist who said that if you want to change the system, you have to be in the system, because if you are out, you cannot change it. Do you agree?
I don't know if I agree 100% with that. There's truth to it, but with the Black Panthers in the system, you know what I'm saying? Like, then these questions come up, and then was Martin Luther King in the system? Maybe not. He wasn't allowed to, he was breaking the law. So that's outside of the system.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You like step your foot in both? I don't know. That's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And now you are releasing live at Harder Recorders. Why did you decide to go ahead with this project? And why did you decide to go ahead at this precise moment?
Well, it all came together, because we had just gotten, I think our last show was in Berlin. Was that the last date? And we had a...
Do we play? I think we were in Berlin, but we didn't play.
We didn't play Berlin. We're
supposed to play.
Stopping the tour. Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, that was depressing.
COVID was getting bad there, and people were like, should you play tonight? We're like, I don't know. And then our manager and everyone was like...
That show, I remember, was sold out, and we had to pass through Berlin to go home, to go to Portugal, and we saw our posters everywhere. I actually wanted to cry. I'm like, just one show, it's one last show.
That was Cologne.
No, that wasn't Cologne.
We were in Berlin. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cologne.
Cologne was
I'm
the
all
last,
confused.
but we didn't play Berlin. Anyway.
Whatever,
we gotta cut the show short. So we rushed home, and then, we rushed to Porto. And João, the owner of Arda, he had just created that huge, beautiful studio. It was
it's a wonderful studio. It's a wonderful studio.
Yeah. And he had time opens. We're like, let's just do it. We were already in live mode and wanting to play live still. So we flew over our friends from Shaka Punk, the French band, and we just did it. And we're in 3 days, we're we want to record songs that we were just playing live a few weeks ago. So it had a fresh energy of the live show. That's what we wanted to create. Something raw, like that.
And those musicians that play with you, they are also at Porto? They are living there?
No, they're from Paris, so we flew them in.
Ah, you flew them in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in a band called Shaka Punk from France.
From France.
Yeah.
But I thought they were already here, but you made them come.
We dropped a drummer off when we were on the way, and then
you have you on this record you have 6 songs. How did you choose those songs?
Well, there's 8, isn't there?
I think there's 8.
There's 8. Yeah,
there are 8.
There were,
I thought there was 6.
5.
Okay, 8.
There's 5 band songs, like full, but some of them are pretty long because it's like improvising happening. And then there was 3 of her on the grand piano.
Yeah.
Which one did you like to do more? Delilah?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
I don't know. Both.
Yeah, I love listening to her on the grand piano. That was my favorite part because I don't have to actually listen. You know what I'm saying? But playing wise, Hard Times.
Hard Times is good.
And Soul on Fire.
Yeah,
and those are 2 songs with the longest solos.
I liked Hard Times because it was like 3 a.m. That was like we were, and Edgey was the one who was like, "Come on, let's just play Hard Times," and we were all like delirious. So, and then that ended up being the one we kept. So,
without concerts, do you think this is important for you to be near to your fans with this project? Definitely.
Yeah, I think we've been much more on like the social media, like it's since the pandemic started, and like talking to fans and all that, doing live streams and people were asking for a live record. So
it's not very a live record, it's kind of a live record. And this goes to another question. Your rock and roll and your performance are very strong and intense. Everybody knows, because we stand like this looking at you, Delilah, because you're wonderful on stage. You too, Edgey, but she's beautiful. Okay. Was it difficult for you to pass this feeling to this project that was in a studio?
In a studio, yeah.
Probably not.
It didn't feel like, I think because we still had it fresh in our minds, like the live show. So, and we were like and we try to pump ourselves up before we played each song. Like, yeah, like we're playing for people, but there was no one there with us.
Yeah.
But you could imagine the persons on the other playing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What were we thinking when we played? I don't even.
What were you thinking, Edgey? What were you thinking?
See, that's the thing. I don't think I was thinking, because that's. If I was thinking during a take, I'm like, stop, do it all over. I was like, why? Because there were thoughts in my head. I don't want to think about anything. And so, like, I think what every musician, like, kind of like, I don't know, what they search for in music or when playing is that moment of complete clarity, of like total, like being in the zone, kind of like the way Michael Jordan is in the zone. It's when you're just totally focused on one thing and time is suspended, you know what I mean? And you're really not thinking about anything. You're just riding some kind of emotional wave or whatever. And that is very difficult to get to sometimes. And I feel like we did get on that for this live record. Some songs took like 2 or 3 takes in order to feel that. And once we felt that, I could tell right in the control room, Jean was listening, he'd be like, that's the take. I'm like, he feels when we're feeling. It's, I can't put it into words. You know what I'm saying?
It was a good marriage between you two, the musicians and the studio.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we could tell too when they were like, because we saw it through the glass, when they were like standing up and watching and like moving around, then we could tell, okay, we were our audience.
And then at one point when we were doing Hard Times 3 a.m., the entire staff was in the control room staring at us because we were jumping around, fucking shit was falling all over the place. And it was actually funny because like, we slept there because they have sleeping quarters. Yeah. So I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go get a cup of coffee. I'd be in like my pajamas and like just walking into the lounge with all the other bands. I'm like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I'm completely in my fucking pajamas, like just woke up. It's like hilarious.
That's so cool.
It was a great environment.
To do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
like
cool.
You feel like you want that every day.
You did record every songs in a video, right?
Yeah.
You already released one.
Yeah, we did Try Me. Yeah, Try Me. Yeah.
Do you intend to release all the others one by one, or you intend to do only a video, like a show?
We'll probably release a few more, and then we also have, like, when people get the CD, we have like a digital download of like all the songs, and like also in between
it's a documentary,
stuff. Like, yeah, it's like a rockumentary.
There's a lot of funny moments.
Rockumentary, very nice.
There's a lot of funny moments in that rockumentary.
Really? Oh.
People don't know this about us, I guess. They'll see it for the first time because on stage, like I said, we're very serious on stage because if you look at us, like, we're trying to get in the zone.
Yeah,
you don't
very
see
focused.
Us laughing or fucking, So, but in between takes, when you see in the studio, all our humor comes out, and we're always putting each other down and uplifting each other at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't like something, we'll be like, yo, that sucks. I was like, yo, is that all you got? Like, and then, and then if it's awesome, we'll be like, yo, that was the greatest shit I ever heard. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, was it great? No, that sucks. Let's do it again. You see this, like, the process of what we go through, the doubting of ourselves, and the engineer saying, no, that was a great take. Are you sure? And then hearing it the next day, I'm like, oh my God, that was a great take. It's like, you see it all. Like,
yeah, I don't know if that's a New York thing, but we always do that. We always like kind of put each other down, but also build each other up. It's like trying to get the best out of each other.
The best of it. Yeah, I do understand.
But it's always love that.
And the musicians are French, so two of them don't speak any English. And you see me talking to them, like, all right, that's the plan, let's go. And they're completely fucking confused. It's like
how do you communicate with them if they don't speak in English? Not even my English? Oh, God.
Well, Jan, the drummer, he speaks English and French, so he was
translating. And it's funny, if you see the documentary, there's times, like, I didn't notice how funny or weird it was. I'm telling the drummer, as we're about to record, we're in the live room, to relay the message to the piano player or whatever. And I'd be like, Jan, can you please explain to him that I wanted it to sound like, I don't know, make the keys sound like he's throwing his grandma off the stairs or something. And then you hear him asking French, and then you see his reaction to what I say. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I'll try. I don't know what that would sound like, but let me try something. And then you hear the keys, you hear everything just falling apart. And then there it is. It's like
and then they start yelling, throw your grandma down the stairs.
Very nice, very nice. Besides the music, we have the bonus to see you in a pure moment of pure creation, and that's fantastic. When it will be available, the record?
The 18th, I think.
The 18th, it's like out officially, yeah. But
everywhere, like streaming.
It's on pre-order now. Yeah.
I'll pre-order. And are you making only a CD, or are you intend to make a vinyl too?
Yeah, we have vinyl too. That's out in January, like late January or
February, I think now.
Yeah,
or late February. It takes time to make vinyl.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. And is on pre-order too, the vinyl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so happy. Delilah. Yes, I am. Delilah, Edgey, it was an enormous pleasure to have you here with us. I think we have
thank you.
We have much more to talk about, but not like this. We have to be near each other and to change ideas and to change philosophers and to change strategies to change the world, because the world is needing people to change. Yeah, it was a great, it was a great pleasure. I hope everything good for you. And I don't know if you liked Christmas, but if you do, a Merry Christmas to you. And I hope, too. And I hope next year will be awesome, and that you can come back to Portugal so we can see you again on stage.
No, cool. Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.